it's your girl Aisha J. I got something to say. Okay, I'm being hi. Welcome back. Welcome back. And we are into part two of happiness. And part two of the trilogy is called The Breakthrough. And again, welcome my special guest, Shamika Free.
Hey.
Yes, I got my girl. She's still right here with me. And we just gonna jump right on in. We just gonna continue on. We left off. We let you guys know about we made a decision. I made a decision. Um, Shamika made a decision um, that we wanted to live happily.
Right.
Okay. And now we are going to be talking about the breakthrough. Um, now, my breakthrough was again I touched on in the previous podcast recording. I touched on because my journey was more spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
um and what I'm saying, God was instrumental um in my breakthrough. um and as I spoke with you the other day, I was letting you know, um and I said it, I needed to become whole because I felt like I felt like there was this, this might sound crazy to some people, but this is what happened to me, and this is when I was going through my breakthrough. So I felt like, again, I needed to become whole. I was these two separate people, and I felt like it was this cloudy, dark. Um, I don't want to say evil because I never, what I'm saying, I didn't, I was not malice towards anyone. I never set out to do anything wrong to anybody, but I just felt like it was just like this dark individual, and it was a cloud, like this dark cloud, and it was just like trying to overtake. And then I had this nice, sunny, bright Aisha, just and she was so small, and I felt like, and I'm using my hands here, but I definitely felt like it was just trying to like overtake and just, and no, and I what I wanted to do was eliminate.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to eliminate this dark space, this dark part of me, this unhappy part of me, and in my decision to live.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my breakthrough, um, which it was deep. It was deep. But I was able to um I was able to overcome. I was able to, in my breakthrough process, I was able to make myself whole,
Mm-hmm.
and 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 brighten up, and let the sun shine through. And I was able to eliminate that other side of me, that dark side of me that was trying to overtake and overcome and take over my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my breakthrough. I felt like that was my breaking moment. Like when I was able to see some form of light.
Mm-hmm.
Shamika, we talked about the decision. You decided. Can you please let my audience know what was your breakthrough point? Or have you, or even do you feel like you've reached the breakthrough point considering the part of the journey that you're in?
Yeah, I had a breaking point, and since we real and raw and uncut, I'm gonna keep it real. You
Absolutely.
can ask my kids. Like, it was a straw that broke the camel's back. So throughout the early year, we battling the pandemic. So
Hmm.
working in the hospital, you might have some days, you might be ill. You got to go get checked.
Hmm.
So it was just ongoing. My kids sick. It was just so much stress on me. Me working nights, I worked at Freighter Hospital. So I'm working 6 to 6:30, 6 p.m. to 6:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And I would do that 3 days in a row. So it's consecutive. And don't let somebody call in and you're mandated overtime. You're coming in. So
Oh
I was
wow.
always drained. I felt like a zombie. So it was in August. Like I said, I go back to that fifth, that was like 5 months that I've been on my journey now.
Hmm.
And I came home and I had picked up a couple hours because I'm always like, get the money, get the money. That's what you went to school for. You learned to get the money.
Hmm.
So I'm like, okay. I tell my kids, because they And I'm so mad at myself now that I look back, because mind you, I work night shifts. So I'm working 6 p.m. to 6:30 in the morning. So therefore, my smaller children, I have 5 children. So 22-year-old no longer resides with me. I have a 19-year-old, 10-year-old, 5-year-old, 2-year-old.
Okay.
So responsibility of the younger ones was on my 19-year-old.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, okay, you can do it. I'm just like, we got to do this. I have to pay bills, blase, blase. I'm like, I'm going to go pick up 6 hours tonight. I'll be back home. So the breakthrough for me is when I came home, I was already stressed out, because it's like, you be at work and your kids acting up and they calling, you don't feel, what it is with kids. It's always something.
Absolutely.
So you always like, go to bed, or they calling you at work. Stop doing that. Listen to your sister. When I got home, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I had picked up 6 to 12, but I ended up staying to 2. And my baby was running through the house with a soggy ass pamper on. And it was like, and then my daughter still had her clothes on. They still like geeked up. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. And I just snapped. Okay. Like, why are they still up? They should have been. Ultimately, that was like my breaking point. It was like, I just let everything go then, because I was mad at my daughter, my oldest daughter. And sorry, Pooh, I love you. But it wasn't her responsibility.
Right.
So even though she was always complaining, like, I'm tired of watching them and they don't listen and this and that, I heard it, but I wasn't listening.
Okay.
I heard it. Disclaimer: hearing and listening are 2 different things. Hearing, you hear blah, 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 blah. Listening, you hear the words. You make out the words and you take the time to understand and interpret the message in your brain. So I was hearing my kids always complaining, but I didn't listen. So I know I'm very particular. I like my house clean. I like my kids clean. I like them in the bed. I like to be prompt. I'm like fixated with schedules.
Right.
So coming home and seeing that, it's like haywire, it was like a zoo and all that, I just snapped. Like, I told my daughter, you don't want to help and do this, you go stay with your dad. And it's like I snapped. And that's why I think that I went through like a nervous breakdown.
Okay.
Just had a baby, was in school 2 years, went straight to working nights, postpartum. I eventually seen like I was operating, like you had mentioned to me too, like you were just getting up in a functional zombie, basically. We were functionally living, but we weren't living.
Right.
It's like I was sleepwalking. So that was kind of like the breakthrough for me. It's like my job didn't want to get me off for the pleurisy when I was sick. They didn't want to get me off to take care of my kids. My kids was tired of watching kids. It was like everything was just like on me. And I'm like, I just said, forget it. That was the breakthrough for me to say, like, I don't have to live like this. I don't have to do none of this stuff that's making me ill. That's making me, tired or not productive or not dependable for my kids, for my family, not being that matriarch for them. I said, forget this. And I let it all go. So that was the breakthrough for me to see that didn't nobody care about me or will care about me like I'm going to care about me. So that was kind of my breakthrough.
Okay. And again, going back into, because it wasn't, you had a particular moment. You know exactly when, and mine was kind of like, like a process, you know what I'm saying? Like it was so many things that had led up to this point. You know what I'm saying? Me, I actually, and I'm gonna talk about it. Me growing up with 2 fathers. And this was part of my journey. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I don't want to again, it was, some people's names I didn't ask if I could say their names, but these are family members. But me trying to figure out who I am, because I have 2 families. And then it's always been it's always kind of like been a issue with me and my sister. Whenever we get into arguments or it's always brought up, that ain't none of your daddy and da, 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 da. That's the man I know as my father. That's who on my birth certificate. Not saying I didn't know the other man. It's just that, what I'm saying, no paternity test was ever conducted. The other man is deceased now. I learned things about my mother in my journey and in my process and my breakthrough. It was things that I learned about my mother, and I'm trying to figure out myself. And that was like it was so many things involved in my break. It was so many things that was involved in my breakthrough. And I had to and I'm actually still, but I definitely feel like I kind of came to terms.
Mhm.
I came to terms with it because I love my Baba. He's a Muslim, so I love my father.
Yeah, shout out to that NOI, like Nation of Islam. Man, y'all really inspire me. And I really follow a lot of teachings. I don't commit to any religion, but a lot of their teachings I really abide by because it's self-preservation.
Absolutely.
They telling you how to eat healthy. Your body's a temple. They telling you how to
Yes.
navigate this world for longevity.
Mhm.
And if you, just so I could throw out there the definition, and I do a lot of definitions because I read the dictionary.
Shout out to education.
He didn't give us the pew 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 pew.
I know that's right. Okay.
But yeah, I had to learn, like, you got to take everything. Like I was just saying, what we saying is a DIY, do it
Mhm.
yourself. You got to take instructions and apply them to you.
Absolutely.
It's like, even with a cake, I use 2 eggs. They say use 1. You know what I mean? Like, you substitute, you do what it is to meet your needs, your taste, your
Right.
what you want out of it.
Right.
So shout out to that. You know, because like I said, I do learn and I educate myself a lot on what's going on with different religions and what's going on in the world today. So
Right.
do your homework.
I know that's right. So yeah, I just would like I want my Baba to know it takes a real man to never walk away and to not care about what nobody else says, because I mean he has had all kind of people just come at him. That's not your daughter. That's not your daughter.
That's
Whatever.
crazy though. It's like, why?
Why exactly? Why are you guys?
What are you winning?
What do you get from that? Why
break that black man down?
Why y'all so focused on, you know what I'm saying, who my daddy is?
Right.
Okay. Anyways, he's on my birth certificate. That's my Baba. That's my daddy. And I love him dearly. I love that man with all my heart. He has never walked away. Never walked away. Do you hear me when I tell you he was? I mean, I can remember back to when I was little, like 5, 6 years old. My daddy would take me and my sister. He ain't had nobody to watch us. He would take us to school with him. He did whatever he had to do, because he was the sole parent at the time. My mom had left us with him for months. So, and he and me thinking back into my childhood and how he made it special, and yeah. Those was special moments that I'm always remember. I'm gonna always cherish, and he did that for me.
I want to do right now. I want to give a shout out to our black men. We love y'all.
I know.
Keep working on yourself.
Keep on.
We working on ourselves so we can get back to you.
Yep. I know that's right, Shamika.
For real, because it's like encouraged. You got to be encouraged. It's like when I step outside and I think about like what I'm going through personally, I can imagine what the next person could be going through.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm built on empathy.
Okay.
I always live my life on empathy. I always be like, let me put their shoes on before I make a decision. I have that pause in my life. So that's kind of like giving yourself time to think before you speak, because you might say the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I always do that. I give myself that pause. But I just wanted to, since you were talking about, you know, your dad and the things he did in your life, I wanted to give a shout out to our dads out here, our black men trying to do something right.
Right.
You know,
and
you are doing something right. Know that you are right.
Right. And
look
it's
to
not
yourself.
And it's not always about money. You know what I'm saying? Like I can tell you about my favorite piece is Marco's Pizza. And
girl, I love.
Oh, you do?
Love Marco's out there at
Girl,
Waukesha. I live in Waukesha, y'all.
She live in Waukesha. But you know what? I actually love I actually like that you live in Waukesha. You know what I'm saying? My kids did not go to MPS. My first 3. And I'm actually I think I'm adjusting because you know my kids went to school in Brookfield, grade school, middle school, high school. And you know we talked about that. I wanted my kids, I went to school in Menominee Falls. So I knew the education system. So I went to school in Menominee Falls, grade school, middle school, high school. So I'm like, I want my kids to receive the same type of education. So I put them in a 220 program. Shout out to they need to bring the 220 program back. They took it away, but you know that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother podcast.
I'm just trying to get, you know,
you already know why you know why they took that away.
Listen, I'm just trying to get wealthy so I could be like Erykah Badu and teach my kids at home mathematics and physics and gardening and all that stuff. I'm trying to build my own like little community.
You know what? And I swear to God,
I'm deep,
I
like,
felt that
I'm
with
deep
you.
like that.
I felt
Yeah.
I was thinking about like music and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know why Erica Badu resided with me when I thought about you. But
Shout out to Erica Badu. I love you.
I do. I felt that. I know.
Yeah.
Did you see her hair?
Yes.
She just cut her
so
ends.
pretty.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Oh my
yes.
God,
Yes. That journey. Yeah.
I'm telling you, y'all.
Like do your own. She is like the mascot to me of doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Living how you want to live.
Kelly says too. Have
Yep.
you ever?
Yes.
Kelly
She is.
says
Oh
too.
yeah. Bring that milkshake to the. What is it?
My milkshake brings on the voice to the yard.
She was right.
You're damn right. Isn't that
People used to tell me back in the day I looked like her when I had did her haircut when I was younger.
You definitely. And when you had when your hair was just dyed.
Oh, that blonde.
Yeah.
My friend said that was my sunflower period. So that's kind of how I like resonated with my African culture.
Mhm.
I went and looked the scene with a sunflower mint at that time. It's like it was deep too because she was like, "You a sunflower?" I'm like, "What?" And I had to go look it up and stuff. And I'm like, "Wow, she was right on point."
Right.
Like, cause that was a part of me transitioning. Like, cause when I cut my hair, it wasn't just a clear cut.
I know. I definitely seen your
curly,
process.
Then somebody fucked up, and then it's like I had to recover.
Mhm.
It was like then I got the ball to make the shot. So
Okay.
with the last part, so
And
I was finally at the end, but I didn't give up.
I just and can I just say, I think that you are a beautiful,
Thank you,
beautiful black woman.
Thank you. I try.
Mean, you.
Shout out to my mama and daddy.
I'm telling you, girl, you beautiful. I'm telling you.
You is too. I was just telling you how you the pretty. You know,
Don't-
I'm the laid back. Shout out to Ellen because I like her clothes line. But I like to be comfortable. I don't know. It's just me. But that was one of the things in like deciding to even know what I like.
Mhm.
You know, to even have that breakthrough to try to figure out. Like first, I felt like I had to just, with the breakthrough, it was like, okay, you need to just be.
Mhm.
You know, do you even know? Like a lot of us don't even know what the definition of just be. Be. It means to exist. That's crazy. Number 2 definitions occur to take my place. And by the way, be is a verb. So in order for me to be, I have to exist. I have to take my place in this world as me.
I gotta
Look it up. Oxford definition. It's a verb. 1, exist. Number 2, occur and take your place. That's how it means to be. I had to be first before I could exist.
right.
Because I have to learn me, self-awareness.
Mhm.
And then after I could exist, finally I can exist because I'm here, I'm taking my place. Now it's like exist is defined as having objective reality or
Mhm.
being. Now I'm at a being. Like this stuff is so complex. If you really do the homework on it, it's
Mhm.
like it take you down a rabbit hole. Because right now I feel like I'm on a search for meaning.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So you need that time. You can't really get that time when you got to run to work, when you got your kids and all that.
Mhm.
You have to set aside that time
Yeah.
to work on you.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of
Definitely.
was the breakthrough for me. It's like, okay, now you broke through. You done.
Mhm.
What is the next step for you? What are you doing? It's like, okay, I need to strip myself of everything that I was. It's time to relearn me. Like I was just born again,
Mhm.
And that's what I started doing. I started defining myself. What is my character? What do I desire? What are
Mhm.
my motives? How do my feelings operate? What triggers me? Why does it trigger me?
Right.
So I kind of got deep with that with the breakthrough.
Absolutely. I feel you with those triggers. Like I have to in my journey, and I'm constantly redirecting myself. I pay such close attention to myself,
Yes.
what I'm saying, what I'm doing, like,
as you should.
and certain things are triggers for me. It was at one point in time, I want to say,
Excuse me, y'all.
I did not cuss I swear cuss.
Ooh, I got a potty mouth, y'all.
My mouth is horrible now. But I think that was part of my breakthrough.
Yeah.
So again, I was on I did this, my older kids. Yeah, so I got 2 sets of kids. I got 5 in total.
Me
I
too,
have,
girl. 5. 5 months, 5 years, 5 kids.
I'm telling you,
we in sync.
The 5. And
Yep.
she sent me
5.
Look these numbers up. I love, you brought that to my attention.
Mhm.
And and then like I said, also let me just put this out here. My mantra. God, thank you for bringing the right people into my life. God, thank you for bringing the right people into my life. God, thank you for bringing I say that every day.
Yeah, you should.
I say that every day. And again, and thank you so much for being a special guest
Thank
on
you
my
for having me. This
podcast.
is, man,
I
I
want to
can't
say
even
thank you.
explain the gratitude for this, because I had asked the universe for this. You know, I'm not real tech savvy, and I need to get my message out, and I need to tell people, you know, that's my purpose in life. Like, I don't feel fulfilled unless I'm telling somebody something. I know they're
Mhm.
like, damn, she talked too much, but
I
you
don't
better, you
think
got to
so.
listen.
Right.
You know, I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to talk your ear off, but it's a message that I need to get to you.
Mhm.
So I've learned to do my part and, you know, keep it going. But when you came to me with this, I'm like, oh my God, the universe opening the doors for me.
And I felt like, again, God, thank you for bringing my people into my life, my mantra. And I feel like I opened the door for that. I say it because it's not about who I know. That's why I say, God, thank you for bringing my people into my life, because it's about who's going to come into my life, who I'm going to meet, and I'm open to that.
Yep. And you know how you gonna meet them people? Because you following your plan.
Absolutely.
They're gonna fall into your lane. It's like, I don't gotta go outside of my plan to go find people. I don't. I gotta keep on with the plan, and then the universe gonna send them people who's part of my plan.
Absolutely.
And that's what I believe in. I always believe from manifesting from the inside out. So yeah, I want to be married, and I'm doing all the things to be married, like basically get my finances together, basically making sure that I'm not over masculine, you know, I'm not over independent, I'm independent, you know, making sure I'm checking me to get things. When I'm going down my path to saying, oh, I'm better in me, putting all into me, loving me, all that stuff is going to project out. And those people that's for me going to fall into my lane.
Absolutely.
You know, I feel like our lives are like paths. And you have that person that might come in your path and they walk in their path and your paths are aligned. But then they go their separate way. It was time for their path to go their way.
Right.
But you will get that one person that's your paths will align to eternity.
Right.
And that's what I'm waiting on right now.
Okay.
But in order to do that, I have to work on me. I have to keep focus on me. Not like when you were saying, you was like, when you was in a relationship, you was like, love me, want me. I feel like if I love me and want me, that will in return vibrate off me and send a person that's going to love me and want me the way I am.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's for the I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that for our part 3. But what I did want to say is, for the for far as my breakthrough, I just want everybody to know that everybody has I use the word breakthrough, but everybody has a breaking point. Everybody. And so that's what I want everyone to take away from part 2 of the Happiness Trilogy podcast.
Right.
You know, I use the word breakthrough, but everybody has their breaking point. Okay. So with that being said, we are going to wrap things up because I got to give y'all part 3. Part 3 is coming up. Okay, tune in with your girl Aisha J. Got something to say.